Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 16. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here and welcome back to this week's news report, where once again it is time to have a look back in the last week, what has happened. And as you know, if you follow here my YouTube channel, you'll see in the last couple of weeks there's been a lot of fluctuation, there's been a lot of volatility in the Forex market, and that also made a lot of money for us. So, and hopefully also for some of the copy link service traders that are in here, or investors, whatever you want to call them. So definitely this week is a whole different week. After the high volatility markets that we have had, it is pretty much gone into a bit of a limbo. Let's wait and see what's actually happening. So that reflects some of the numbers that we have. We can also see that some of the drawdowns are actually down for most of the EAs, which is a very good sign. Of course, we want to cash in on all this drawdown after that has gone one way. Hopefully it'll start going the other one. But again, the markets are extremely unsure. Even though the markets are unsure, we have actually launched a new EA. So this is now a new EA, very, very simplified one. And I'll tell you a bit more about it through this particular video here. But the good part is it is extremely simple. And even the beginner traders that hasn't really touched any of these items before can actually get something out of it. I'll show you exactly the settings later on in the video. So please make sure you stay until the end. And obviously we also have a few other things, and that's the coupling service in here that we are set up with from Expert Forex. We're going to go through some of these signals again. Things are looking good. They could be even better, obviously. So, and that's what we're always trying to do in order to improve all our signals in here. I'm going to show you exactly where we are with all this. And of course, we're also going to go through Expert Forex, some of the videos and some of the ideas that Alex has. So let's get into the videos. Let's get started. So when we start with Yieldnodes here, there's no news from the team or the Decenomy Pro team, anybody else in here, either Steve or Urts. The only thing that we can actually do is what we've done every single week here, go to the audit coin reserves in here and have a look at the total coins owned by Yieldnodes in here. And basically these are all the participants, so everybody who is in Yieldnodes. We can go and have a look and see if there's any changes in here. If we just take from the top line, 777 in here, it's got about 21 more new masternodes running in here. So obviously that is a good news. So things are moving. The next one, the AZR, has got another 5. And if we go to the bottom here, we can also see there's another 5 for the PNY in here. So it has been updated for week 16. Going over to the SAP. Also in here, there's about 11 new ones. So definitely the Yieldnodes team is still on it. And obviously things are still moving. But it's all about the coin prices at the end of the day. And the main one is the SAP. And yes, there's nothing wrong with your screen in here. It is definitely still at 0, pretty much flatline. You can see there's a few buys in here, especially on the 17th and on the 18th. And slightly up also on the 20th, but it doesn't really move anything in the market overall. The price is still very, very low and continues to be at the same level as it has been now for a long time, since 2025, even all the way back into 2024. However, we are still staking some of the coins in here. The staking seems to have changed again. You'll notice that March was the best one for our SAP coins. We are now up about 95,000, which is obviously great. We made 3,192 SAP in the last week, or 3.3%, so obviously nice. But when you look at the whole month of April, everything has slowed down again. And as I mentioned here also, the rewards that we are getting, the staking that is coming back to us seems to continue to change and actually go lower. So here we see 104.30, then it goes down to 101.15. Then it goes up again, and then you can see the latest one is 101.15. It doesn't come in as frequent anymore as they used to be. We have one here on the 15th, the next one on the 18th. So there's a couple of days in between there. And then it starts going again 2 times on the 19th. So it's not very stable here at the moment. And certainly the profit has come down from more than the 10% Also on the PNY, we're still looking good. We got about 78,000 of them. And this week we made 6,384 PNY, which is good for the staking. You can see we're getting very, very close with the April numbers to what we had in March. And since we still have around 10 days to go for the month of April, this could be a new all-time high with 8.1% just for this particular week. So that is obviously good news, and hopefully we'll see also before the end of the year, maybe we even hit the 100,000 mark. We also have to look at Bitcoin versus USDT. That has also been in limbo. So we left it last time around last week at 84,500. So where the red circle is in here, since then it has been hovering pretty much stable. And when we call Bitcoin stable, it means it goes from somewhere around 83,000 to just over 86, which is a very small band for this particular coin. But in the last 8-10 hours in here, it now looks like it's actually shooting up again. So this is a new week. Obviously, as we're shooting this video, it is Monday, and it looks like that has actually set something in motion. So at the moment, Bitcoin is trading around 87,520. So good news for all the Bitcoin holders. We also have plenty of good news for the Wave Liberator holders for week 16. The top 5 EAs in here. Yes, the numbers are down, but they are still very good and very solid. So if you have a look at the Euro Swiss francs with $83 and 8.3%, definitely not bad at all. Great British Pound Swiss francs, you'll notice a lot of these Swiss francs again this week, $76, 7.6%. And then the Euro Great British Pounds, $51, 5.1%, with New Zealand CAD at $37, 3.7%. And the same here for the Great British Pounds, USD, $37, 3.7%. And if you would have copied in these results here in the past week, you would have made $284 or 5.7%. And that is a good and stable one for accounts that are in so-called limbo here at the moment. We also see that the floating profit and loss is actually down by a couple of thousand compared to last week. In here, closed profit is already over 41,000. And remember, we started with 22 accounts, 220,000. And that has now given a return also of 20%. So again, if you are treating this now as $1,000 accounts instead, the average here is about 11% or 3% on the weekly basis. Trade wins are good with 68% in here. So doing well, and about 14 trades. Now a lot of history for this particular EA in here, 608 days. And that also means that if you go on our website, you'll notice that all of the signals are now on the coupling service. So simply go and click them. It will take you to FX Blue. You'll see the profit, you'll see the drawdown, you'll see it bi-weekly, monthly, daily if you want. You can dissect it to your heart's desire. And some of the things you'll get is, again, some of these graphs in here. You'll notice that the entire portfolio made $513 compared to $1,102 the last week. But when you look further back, you can see that 500 is still a very good number. Even one here in the beginning of January, also 500. So it is at a good level and definitely something we're happy with at the moment. Same here with the RSI Liberator. That one has come down a bit on the profits, hasn't done as well as the Wave Liberator with the Aussie Japanese, only cashing in about $30 or 3%. Well, you can't really complain about 3% because it would still be 12% at the end of the month. Great British Pounds Japanese, $22, 2.2%, and then Great British Pounds CAD, $22 also with 2.2%, and then Aussie CAD, $21, 2.1%, and then the lowest one of the top 5 is the US Swiss francs, $20, 2%, which would be around 8% in the month. So that one hasn't done so well. But don't forget, this is the RSI Liberator is overbought, oversold, and difficult to find those particular ones in the market as has been for the last week. But still, we made $116 or 2.3% for these particular signals in here. The entire portfolio still doing quite well. Also here we started with the 22 accounts and $10,000 each. So 220 has now turned into almost 250,000 in here. Floating profit and loss also down, not by that much, but still going in the right direction. Monthly returns is about 1 or 10% for $1,000 accounts. Weekly returns around 2, and trade wins still high, 66%, so that's a very good level. And we have a few more trades per day in here for 18 at the moment, so not too bad at all. We are happy with it, and that's also why you'll find a lot of these signals on the coupling service on our website, where again you can go in, it leads you to the FX Blue site, and you can then have a look at whatever else is in there. We're going to wait a bit of adding any new ones just until the market calms down a bit again. So in the meantime, let's have a look at the numbers. You can see they are low. 142 is everything that the portfolio actually made this particular week here. So that's disappointing, especially coming from a week where we had about 1,555 and then 1,167. And even before that, it was doing better. So obviously a bit of an off week for the RSI Liberator in here. Good is you can actually go on our website and you can select all these EAs in here. And the one we're going to click on next is basically go to the Hedged EA, because that one is always cashing in quite well, both up and down, as you'll see with the arrows in here. So the Hedged EA for week 16, the top 5 is on your screen with New Zealand USD, $67, 6.7%. So that's still very good. US Swiss francs, again, another Swiss francs, and you'll see more at the bottom. $56, 5.6%, with New Zealand CAD at $50, 5%. Euro Swiss francs, there you go. $49, 4.9%, and then Great British Pound, Swiss francs, $42, 4.2%. Overall, $264, 5.3% for this particular week. Another very strong EA here, and another strong week also. The portfolio in here, you can see it was nice and smooth, and all of a sudden with the tariffs basically getting imposed, we had a lot of profits coming in. That also again means that we have 16 accounts. Those 16 accounts so far has made 9,000. We have a floating profit of loss that actually jumped up quite high in the past couple of weeks. We are expecting that one to go down, and it has gone down also a bit. We see the monthly returns is 1.9 or 19% on the $1,000 accounts it's meant to work on. Weekly returns is around 4%, and then the trade wins are 70.7%, so that's good, keeping above the 70% mark. Trades per day also a few more than what you've seen the other EAs do, 23, and now a history of 91 days. So again, 3 months in here, good stable results. That's also why we now started to put some of these particular EAs on the website and also on the copy-link service, so you can actually find more details and information on this. And again, we're going to add more to them later on when the market sort of calms down a bit again, and we'll make sure that we have made some adjustments here to make sure they are as safe as possible. Now going over the numbers for the entire portfolio, 457. So that is obviously down from the 2,400 we had last week and almost 2,000 the week before. And if we look back, it looks like similar to the Wave Liberator, we are a bit more in the normal range again. So obviously this was a huge profits coming in here. So breaking basically the trend, going even further up, and that obviously very nice to see. Now I promised you also the new EA launch, trading basically made simple. And what that means in here is that we have a new EA. It is the Simple Grid Trader Generation 3 in here. This one is actually been launched by Alex and Expert Forex. We set up 16 accounts in here, and you'll notice that this time around, it is $1,000 accounts. We found a new broker in here where we can set it up. So they are $1,000 accounts, and then a leverage of 500 to 1. And that is the first couple of days results. It says as history 4 days in here. Sometimes it calculates also some of the weekends, but anyway, there's a few days in here, about 3 or 4 of them. And obviously so far, we just started off with it. Closed profits 241. We can see the floating profit or loss is slightly higher than that actually happened on Friday. But that's only slightly higher, so that's a good start. The monthly returns looks like 11.9. We just checked this morning again, and profits from early Monday morning, the Asian markets in here, it is up to about 15%, so that looks good. Weekly returns is calculated to 2.7, so that's quite nice. You'll notice here the trade wins, so it must have been very lucky so far, because we have 100% trade wins going in the right direction. And FX Blue has basically set it up at the moment, trades per day 14.5, and you can see some of the currency pairs over here. But again, it is new, and we actually added 8 on one of the first days in the week, and then another day or two later here we added the rest, and that's also why some of these numbers still need some adjustment and obviously time to get some of the first trades in here. And then we'll see, and I'll make sure to add it in also for next week's again. This is still not on the website itself. We're going to set that up also so you can follow it for the future. And obviously this is actually the video here that Alex launched. This goes a couple of weeks back, so I'll make sure that this particular video here also has a video link, so you can go and have a closer look if you're interested in this particular EA. But I can tell you it is very, very simple. So on the left-hand side over here, you can see actually the inputs that are needed, the gap in pip that you want to set up, and Expert Forex have actually set it up. So depending on what currency pairs, this is the gap size suggested, and I actually suggest even higher at the moment based on how the market works. But it is a good starting line, especially for new traders that doesn't really know. So you can go and have a look at that. Now the good part here is also you change the gap by percentage, and you can keep it at 100. So that means the gaps will be the same, 38 all the way through. Or if you go above the 100, so it means that the next one will actually be higher, and it will continue like that. Lot sizes in here also is there. And what they are suggesting is for $1,000 accounts in here, you should use 0.01 lot. And with those gap size, it might work quite well. But obviously, again, we have our own way of determining gap size for the individual currency pairs being measured directly from the broker. So that's what we are trying to do. That's also why we still have a lot of the signals that are quite safe. But again, this is a very unsure world in the trading market at the moment, so you never really know. Close of profit is the last one you have in here. So you can see these things are extremely simple and doesn't even need a lot of back trading to figure out what actually works best. If you follow some of these numbers in here, you can pretty much set it up, and then you start it off. You can see here the $20 profit closing is if you're using 0.01 lot. So very, very easy to get into straight away. And there's also some links to videos and tips that you have here. So it doesn't get any simpler than this. Lucky Trader is also a very simple one and very similar to what you just saw in here, but it is cashing in quite nicely. The Euro Swiss francs, again, a lot of Swiss francs in here, $93, 9.3%. So a very good week for that particular one. New Zealand CAD comes in at $53, 5.3%. And then New Zealand USD, $51, 5.1% with US Swiss francs. Again, everybody's running away from the US dollar and basically putting the money on the Swiss francs. We made $45 on that with 4.5%. And then Great British Pounds, USD, $40, 4%. And then total for the top 5 in here, $283, 5.7%. Very, very good numbers as always from the Lucky Trader. And again, the entire portfolio in here did extremely well, very smooth until we got the last 2 weeks. Then we really cashed in big time. You can see the floating profit and loss is also high compared to the close profits of 13,300, but it is coming down, and hopefully the market will settle in. Monthly returns is about 14% for $1,000 accounts, 3% weekly. Trade wins are just below the 70% mark, so still doing quite well. And so far we've taken 27,000 pips, so quite a lot. Trades per day, 23. So a very active EA and a history of 169 days. And you can see all the different currency pairs in here. They are split quite well. 6% seems to be the lowest, 7, and then up to around 9. Again, we have 16 different accounts in here. You can find them on our website, and some of them are on the copy link service here also. So you can go and have a look, see once you actually want to try and trade, or at least have a look and see how well they are doing, both with the profits and of course also with the all important drawdown here at the moment. And if we have a look at the entire portfolio, we can see that it is down from the 2099 that we had last week down to 484, but that is a bit more of an average that we have seen. So it means that basically the market trades back in the same range as we have seen previously. We also have the Bell Trader, and the Bell Trader hasn't done very well. We already had problems with that since the launch, with low profitability in here, about 7 or 8% only on a monthly basis. So again, here we'll have Aussie CAD, $113, 11.3%. That's definitely very, very good. And also here for the Euro Swiss francs, $86, 8.6%. And then we have Great British Pounds CAD, $52, 5.2%. And then in number 4, actually very low, $6 for New Zealand CAD with 0.6%. And those are the only ones that actually cashed in this particular week here. It was not a good week for the Bell Trader at all. $256, 6.4%. So this is everything that this particular EA managed. Again, we have 16 accounts in here. We have an equity of 150, so actually below where we started. So that was under control for a very long time here, so the drawdown. But what happened with all the tariffs and all the juggling for the individual currency pairs, it hasn't done quite well with that so far. Monthly returns is still about 9%, but that's because we did quite well in the recent weeks. Again, trade wins is 70%, and then pips, quite a few of them, but we have trades per day. There were around 8 before, now they're up to 10, with a history of 139 days. Still looks good, and we also have some of them on the copy link service, so you can go on the website and have a look at them. So these are some of the best ones that we have in here, but very disappointing, 256 overall compared to the 1000 we had last week. So we are now contemplating if we have to make some changes to the overall way we are doing with the Bell Trader, because it has a floating grid system built into it here. Obviously that has not done very well based on what we've seen in the market in the last couple of weeks. So we'll have to wait and see. We have to analyze this a bit further. Analyzing is also what Alex from Expert Forex have done. And there's a free indicator where he basically shows us how you can get 100% success rate. And again, this is actually RSI, so it's overbought, oversold. You can see that on the graphs in here. So when they are crossing the lines, he is trying to tell you when to actually set the EA up for, and actually when to do the trade and when to get out of the trade again. So all of this is, of course, very, very important. I'll make sure that the video description link will be below as usual. Also for this particular video here, so with the free Forex cheat, Forex income, how you can double it. This also goes for our accounts in here. There is a way, if you find some very good and stable accounts, you can actually make some changes, as Alex mentions in here, to basically go up in 1-to-1. So you can actually go up and make the double of what the traders are doing in here. Obviously, it also comes at a higher risk. Or as I mentioned before, you can actually also go low. So if you're a bit uncertain with what is actually happening in the market, instead of 1-to-1, you can go 1-to-0.5 and then take some of the risk away from you again. It's entirely up to you. But one of the things that is important is the account risk analyzing information. Unfortunately, this is the same from last week. We didn't see Alex update this particular Excel. So hopefully he'll get that done later on as of Sunday. So this was not updated yet. So these are the numbers from last week. Again, I do apologize for that. But this is Expert Forex's Excel that you can download from the website in here. Hopefully it will be updated soon, or might have, as we are shooting this particular video here. Again, we are taking some of our best signals in here. We want to have very low profit and loss of -300, so not above, and you can see a lot of the numbers here. They look quite well. At the same time, with the total negative weeks in 8 weeks, we want to have it below 300, so also quite well. And return on drawdown, and then at the end we sort them out from high to low, and you can see 50% for 1K link, 197 C, so all of them with the C is our accounts in here. They're doing quite well. Even the bottom one here, 17% in the last 8 weeks, or pretty much 2 months. Still a good number of negative weeks. You can see it doesn't have too many. There's one with a 3 out of the last 8, but overall it's still cashing in 22%, so you can't really be too upset about that either, can you now? Also on the Expert Forex site in here, there is another little graph, and again, best monthly gains. So this is again from the 12th of April. This has not been updated. I do apologize for that, but hopefully we'll see some new numbers next week. This little graph I didn't have in here on last week's news report. So, but you'll notice again, all the highlighted in yellows is actually our signals in here. So they are quite good, doing 20, almost 30% here. And again, goes all the way through the range. We also have some of the last ones doing about 13.6% in here. So you have a wide range of accounts that are working out quite nicely. A lot of traders are already linked up to these particular ones here. It's just a matter of if you are now also joining the Link to Success or coupling service. So this is what we have for you in this week's news report. As you can see, we are down from the all-time high profits. We are actually back to some kind of normal, even though we are also mentioning that it's a bit in limbo. That is definitely because the market has not done the final adjustments. There's a lot of uncertainty in here, and we for sure is going to see that over the next many weeks. So that's also why you still have to be careful on the coupling service. You can obviously take your one-to-one. You can actually dial it down to half of that if that's what you want, or you can go for broke and go even higher instead of 2 and 3. Obviously, some of our signals here is extremely stable. They are not directly involved, for example, with the Swiss francs, which everybody goes to here at the moment, and the US dollar also. But if you can try and stay away from some of these, there might be even bigger profits in here. Like they are trading a bit more on the normal side here, not with huge fluctuations. But again, you have to go and have a look at our individual signals on our website. You can go on the Expert Forex website also, and then try and find the ones that you think is the most safe and secure for you at the moment, while still producing reasonable profits in here. That's what this channel is all about. Please make sure that you also give us a thumbs up and a like. And if you have anything that you want us to change or basically add into these particular videos here, then please write it in the video description below. And hopefully I'll see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.